Hello everyone, today we're going to go over permissions for SharePoint. In SharePoint, when you're working with permissions, you're using a variety of different appropriate access and authentications. So first, let's go over authentication, which is when you need a username and password to log on to a site. So I'm logging into my SharePoint site right now, and this is a basic username, password, authentication for SharePoint. Permissions are a bit different. There's a variety of permissions that you can use in SharePoint depending on what kind of access individual or a group needs. Permissions are set to make sure that users have only the access they need to do their work. This means you can set individual permissions to allow individuals to access specific sites, lists, libraries, even documents. And you can also set up group permissions to allow specific departments or groups working on projects the same kind of permission or access. To set site permissions, you go to Site Settings. In the top left-hand side, we have Users and Permissions. Underneath, we have People and Groups, Site Permissions, and Site App Permissions, which is different from the top-level site or the Site Collection. Here we have Site Collection Administrators, but in the sub-site, we don't have that same setting. So first, we're going to go to People and Groups. And here we have our group team members, where you can add in specific individuals to just this group. So we have Aaron in this just one group. And then we have on the left side, you can see we have team members, Excel services, visitors. In visitors, we can add visitors, and owners, we can add the owners of the site. Site members contribute to a site but can't change the site. Most people who use collaboration sites like team sites will be members. They can go in and access what's in the site, but they can't go in and change the overall configuration or layout of the site. Members can edit documents, add documents to a library, delete documents they posted. In lists and libraries, they can't add columns, which means changing the layout of the site. Visitors can only read documents. In this case, there are many users who can only have access to read documents, but not to modify or change them in any way. Owners have the most access. They can change site settings, change permissions, and with owners, you want to have a limited amount of people who can manage or administer a site. This is a coveted role because only those who can manage or are site administrators get this access because they have the most access. We can also go in and adjust settings in specific groups. So group settings allows you to see the name. Then we also have the description. We can add in group owner at the bottom. We can go through group settings, who can view membership of the group requests, allow requests to join or leave. We can also go in and view group permissions. So this will show you which site collection permissions are here. And we can also make this a default group. Now let's go into site permissions. And I want to show you inheritance. So this site is a subsite of the top level site. And it says some content on the site has different permissions from what you see here. This website inherits permissions from its parent. So this has the same permission from the parent site, meaning that if there's a group of people inside team members for the top level site, then those people will have the same access in the sub-site. So you want to make sure that when you're creating a new site, particularly because of inheritance pushes permissions from the parent site to the sub-site. And if there are permissions already set, for example, if you're a member of a top level site, but you should only be a visitor of a sub-site, then those permissions are transferred over to the sub-site. You can also go in and manage parent permissions up at the top left. Click on Manage Parent Permissions, and you can go in and see what items have been inherited from its parent site. And you can also stop inheritance. So the permissions that were copied over from the parent site, you can actually stop the inheritance and go in and change the permissions to what you need them to be. You can grant permissions to people, just add them to whatever permissions you want. You search their name, press share, You could include a personal message if you like. Depends on you, but it's pretty easy to add somebody into whatever permission group you want them to be in. You can also go in and create your own group. At the top, underneath permissions, we have create group. In here, you put the name, the description, the site owner, and you can go through the site settings and membership request settings to create your own permissions group. Let's go over permission levels, but to do that, I need to go back to my top level site because that access is only available there. So if I go back to my subsite, you can see that it's missing. So I'll go back to my top level site, click permission levels, and here we can see all the permission levels from full control, design, edit, contribute, read, limited access, and view only. Now, we can go in and modify what we need. We can add permission levels. You want to make sure that you name this correctly, but for now, I'm just going to name it top site permissions. That should be fine. Permissions. Okay, and then you can add in a description if you want to, but that's fine. You can select all to give all permissions, but that's probably not the best idea. You can go in to specific permissions, and they're bracketed by list permissions, adding, deleting, editing items, and then site permissions, managing websites, creating groups, and such. And then at the bottom, we have personal permissions, manage personal views, add, remove personal web parts, update personal web parts. So you can go in and customize what kind of permissions you need for this new group, and then give whichever individual that needs to have that permission, add them into that group. You want to make sure that you try to plan ahead, plan what groups are there, what permissions they have. You can use the templates that are made for you, or you can go in and customize like you saw, but it's good to think ahead and organize which group needs what access and what individual needs which access. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or requests, comment below and let me know, and I can go over that for you if you like. If you enjoyed the video, again, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.